Kyle Lao Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi Bahashem Rakakadash. All praise, honor, and glory go to the Most High Yahawah in the name of His Son Yahawashi. And I'm back to you with another one. I was meaning to do a lesson on this particular scripture that I'm about to read in Habakkuk, and then I also wanted to touch bases on what was going on with this king of Babylon and his attraction towards Venezuela, and how the spirit works. You see this brother right here, GMS Prisoner of Hope 144K, he had already got to it and did a video on it that I'm going to watch real soon. But yeah, and what's so ironic, just on the screen caption, we see, up top how, the Congress is about to vote on the Epstein files being released, which we know what's going on with that. It's not something that is very that this the King of Babylon has been able to hide. We know that there's a lot of pedophiles with the upper echelon of the so-called rich of America, mainly those small hats and Edomites, and we know that he's been using a lot of different things that have been bringing to the headlines as a cover-up of trying to bring out this Epstein list. But at the end of the day, the Lord prevails, and He's gonna do what He does, which is not gonna really, in my opinion, speaking as a man, do anything to bring Him down. It's just really gonna incite Him more to bring in more measures and do more things as He's being attacked. And when you go over to the book of Habakkuk 2, and I'm going to read from 5 through 6. This is the NLT version. It says, "Wealth is treacherous, and the arrogant are never at rest." So the more and more that a wealthy person has, just turns into more of their destruction when they don't have the wisdom, knowledge, understanding from the Most High Yahawah and the Son Yahawashi. And we know the Edomites, they don't possess that gift. They weren't given that blessing. They were just given the blessing of the sword, of, being the antagonist of his brother Jacob, which would be you Israelites, you so-called African American, Native Americans, Latinos, and speckled border Israelites. And when you go over to just real quick, just want to look at, I was just looking at it. Look at Venezuela. It says Venezuela's resources are primarily oil. And the so-called white man covers oil. Anywhere where there's oil, they're going to try to take, control of it. And that's why he's trying to send those warships over there, saying it's about the drug trade, which they control anyway. But it's really about taking over that land. It says with the world's largest proven reserves and significant deposits of natural gas, iron ore, bauxite, gold, and diamonds, the country also has untapped resources such as coltan, and its economy is heavily reliant on the export of these raw materials. So it's no wonder that the King of Babylon, America, wants, to try to go to war against this country. But the funny thing is that his brothers, those Russians and even Iran, because, most of these countries are run by Edomites, really small hats, they're coming to the defense, just as, America came to the defense of Ukraine. Bauxite is the primary ore for aluminum Production coltan is vital for electronics. So go back to the scripture. It says they open their mouths as wide as the grave, and like death, they are never satisfied. Their desire is compared to death, because death is something that's going to continue to happen. Once that curse was put on the human race to die, then death has been undefeated until Yahawashi came, and the Lord defeated death through him. It says, in their greed they have gathered up many nations and swallowed many peoples. And it's just another country that they're trying to do that to. Just real quick, hop in some precepts. I really just wanted to get to 6. This is Isaiah 14:4, 144. It says, you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon, how the oppressor has ceased, the insolent fury ceased. And it will be a time where this desire of the rich, the wealthy, the elite, king of Babylon, it'll be shut up. Where they won't be able to no longer influence society and the world with this greed. And it's coming soon once Yahawashi returns. And that's the hope that we hold on to until the end. Look at Micah 2:4 says, in that day they shall take up a taunt song against you and moan bitterly and say, we are utterly ruined. He changes the portions of my people, how he removes it from me. To an apostate, he allots our fields. And the countries are waking up. The other countries are waking up, realizing that these garrisons, military bases, these charitable organizations that this country has put into all these other countries are just ploys to keep their hands in the cookie jar. And they're going to start to continue to reveal this and show this. And even, America, the own people of America are starting to realize that, to where they're realizing everything that, these elites of the nation of Edom, the small hats that can really control this country, they're starting to realize that who the true enemy is. So the scriptures have to, stay firm to the prophecies that were given to us, revealing who that evil man is, which is Esau, Edom. And, it's going to come a day where the whole world is going to taunt this and bring this out openly. And there's going to be, wars and different conflicts involving just that understanding of that. It's not going to be something that people are just going to wash away anymore. This is Ezekiel 16:44. It says, behold, everyone who uses proverbs will use this proverb about you, like mother, like daughter. So, the daughter of Babylon, the original Babylon who, conquered lands and, was unrighteous with their dealings. The daughter now is this American, this American Babylonian nightmare that we live in, that is acting just like, the beast from the past, the four beasts, the four beasts from the past. The Roman Empire being the last beast, this country resembles that, pretty much perfectly. But just as all those empires went down, this empire is going to go down as well. Proverbs 1:6 says, to understand a proverb and a saying, the words of the wise and their riddles. We've been blessed and we've been graced with the presence of our apostles and elders who were able to break down these things and bring them out for the last 35, 40 years. And, Not only that, even before that, you know, the prophets that were in the times uh, you know, and the apostles that were time before Yahawashi and after Yahawashi seen these visions as well. So we got the whole stack of knowledge and wisdom that we need to really break down what's really happening and connecting the old with the new. Numbers 12 and 28 says, "With him I speak mouth to mouth clearly and not in riddles." And that's, it was talking about Moses at that time. And this is how, the Lord speaks to his men in the Lord these days. There's no riddles, there's no underlines, no, it's strictly to the point. Hey, the micro hip is the mark of the beast. Hey, Esau is the so-called evil. So-called white man, is that evil that the scriptures has been talking about, the evil man that the scriptures have been talking about. Hey, you so-called African American, Native American, Latinos, and speckled blood Israelites are the Israelites. And this land in Babylon, America, is going to be destroyed completely. There's no riddles to that anymore. This is what's going to happen. It says, "And he beholds the form of Yahawah. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Mashah?" And you find many men who the Lord puts the spirit on them to come against the men of the Lord, the prophets. And the same fate is going to happen to them. It's so funny that Esau has all that power, but one thing he won't do is come against the men of the Lord in any kind of way right now, because he's not allowed to. But there's going to come a time when it's going to get too much for him, when there's going to be too much information out there, and you know who they're going to blame? You so-called African American, American Latinos, especially the prophets of the Lord that have been telling you about this destruction that's coming to this land, for a long time now. So going back to this, Epstein list, of course, but they covered the fields of Venezuela. It has many resources. This is another plot by the so-called white man to, the elites of the so-called white man to try to occupy another land. But this time his brothers are going to fight against him, because they've been stepping into battles with all these other countries that are trying to, like Russia and other countries that, are trying to solidify their power. But this civil war between the elites is going to reach a head real soon. Now the cold thing about it is they still are in cahoots with all the different aspects of trying to bring in this Michael C. hip. They're all in the cahoots with trying to change the currency, get the power. But at the end of the day, that lust for power, as it says in Habakkuk, 2, 5, and 6, that lust for wealth is going to be their own downfall. And when that world war happens, we know what happens then. The micro C at first, the World War III, we know what's going to happen then. So, you Israelites stay focused in on doing what the scriptures say. Continue to fight. Continue to pray to Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi for mercy and deliverance. And with that, just want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi Ba'ashem Rakach Kadash. Double honors to all the apostles, elders, teachers, preachers, priests, bishops that came before me, taught me the truth of the video, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Shalawam, peace be to you, to the holy elect, which I pray by the number of. Till next time, Yahawah.